So tomorrow is our big day for chicken processing, and so now we are in the process of getting everything ready for tomorrow morning. So we'll be all set up and ready to go early in the morning. They're about 9 weeks and they are ready to be processed, so tomorrow we're going to go ahead and get that done. Next week we have our daughter's graduation, so it's not going to work for us. And the following week I just feel like we've waited too long. I think the chickens are ready at this point, so we're going to go ahead and get it done tomorrow morning. So here we are getting everything set up and ready to roll early in the morning. We're probably going to do all of our processing here in the driveway. Let me show you. We're going to go ahead and move the cars out of the way. But let me go ahead and give a hand and get this stuff ready. So we've got our bucket ready. We have quite a few of those over there. And the drying rack stand that we made. We've got a tent for some shade. And in here we've got quite a few things to use if needed. We've got some gloves. We've got our knives, fillet knife and cutting knife that we have. A bunch of rags. A hose. This is the burner to heat up the water. And we borrowed a pot off of some good friends. Thank you, Helen and Amos. We do need to get a pot that's big enough to do the scalding. However, I checked quite a few stores and they are out and it's not in season for turkey fryers at this point, so I should have ordered one online. So we're getting this all set up, ready. And I've got the folding tables, one ready, one in the house. I'm going to go ahead and sanitize those in the morning. Everything will be all set up. Also had the bags ready, the freezer bags. So this is pretty much our setup.
That's everything.
Yep, and we got the chicken plucker. Got our yard bird and the propane tank. We gotta take this fitting off.
We got the one on the grill.
Yep, we have 2 propane tanks. Getting it ready. Alright, checking to see if the plucker is working. Just gotta clean her out. Use the hose tomorrow and get it cleaned up. Alright, gonna get over here and drag all this stuff over to the other side. And I've been moving this tractor around the yard. You can see where it's at. But this is going to be garden area next year. I know, you guys are hungry. Let's go. And some people prefer not to feed their chickens for the 12 hours before, but they will have about 8 hours off. We just don't want their crops to be full, but they should be good. Last time we processed, we did more like 10 hours off food, and then we processed them, and their crop was pretty much completely empty except for a little bit of grass. So I think we extended it long enough. We're going to go down to 8. If their crops are full, it just makes it harder for when you're doing evisceration part of the process. Alright guys, so tomorrow's the day. Alright, and we'll get to that process in the morning. Alright, and our last brooder babies went into the turkey coop. Lou is over here putting on some hardware cloth on the door.
You want them to stay in at night, right?
Yeah, they can stay in tonight.
I'm going to try to put this mess on. You can leave that board there.
Yeah.
We'll be able to shut the door.
Yep.
It won't take long to do that.
So they went from one brooder to another. And these are our little babies. We've got 6 Royal Palm turkeys. Get 2 silkies in there. 2 millefleurs. Oh, one's a millefleur. The other one is an old English bantam. and two green egg layers. The two black ones, that's 1 and 2 there. Not sure what they're called. I got them at Tractor Supply. They're specific. Lay green eggs, which we haven't had. So turkeys are very friendly. Everybody getting a drink. So this is their first night out here in this coop. Hey, what are you guys up to? Hi, turkeys. These are our first 2 Royal Palm turkeys. Doing awesome. I think I mentioned in another video that we ordered 3 and they sent us 4 and 2 of them died. So we have these 2 left and they love to roam the yard and all over the place they are. That one's a rooster. Oh yeah. You don't want to say goodnight. Good night, babies. Trying to get them friendly. Get used to us. I always check them for any health issues. Good night, girls. And here's little Blossom. I don't want to try to wipe my eyes too much. Alright, babies. Good night. This one's pretty. That's an Easter egger. Ducks have been well behaved since the other 3 left. And we're trying to get up on the gate here so you can go to bed. More than likely we'll be selling some chickens. And the turkeys are the last to go in. Come on. Nope, wrong way. Come on. You're cute, but you need to go to bed. Good night. Crazies. Ready?
How in the hell is this one shut with this in there?
I didn't think of that.
There you go, that worked.
It's shut alright?
Yep. Lock.
Got the little ones in here for the night. Plenty of space in there too. It's nice. And little bitties in there. Well, all is quiet here on the homestead. Even the goats are down for the night. And the Cornish Cross over here. And their chicken tractor. And we're headed in for the night. It's been a day. Alright guys, see you in the morning. Alright, morning set up. Getting the tent up and the table set up.
That's attached to it to regulate the temperature.
Yep. Alright. We have the cone here. It's gonna go in the tree over there, behind the tree. And then from there, we have our scalder. And then after scalding, we have our plucker here. This will be filled with ice water. And then from there, the evisceration tables. This is where that process will take place.
I gotta dump this.
So we're getting it all set up this morning. Sanitizing everything with bleach water and just waiting for everything to dry off. And once the water's heated up, we're going to get started. We had to borrow the pot, like I said. We need to get one this size. It's really nice. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is you need to get your water up to temp. And make sure you have a thermometer handy, which we do.
It's getting hot.
Yep. And so your temperature should be, well, temperature that we aim for is around 145 to 150. Some people will go up to 175. Pretty much you can put your finger in there without it being scalded. You just want it hot enough to be able to pluck the feathers off of the chicken, and that's what helps loosen the feathers. So, alright, and this is the chicken call area or killing cone. I just made this out of a plastic plant container, and I zip tied it on the side. Got the idea offline, and it worked great for us without having to put the cost in for kill cone offline. So this is what works for us. Of course, you're going to need plenty of ice. I was going to make some ahead, but I didn't get around to doing it, so we ended up having to buy it, which is an extra cost, by the way, of course. So each of those bags of ice add up, and when you're trying to keep the cost low, really it's not the best ideal. Just waiting for the water temp to come up, and we're going to get started here. We have the knives sharpened. This one's a digital. We're right around 118 right now. And of course I have my gloves. I have a whole box of gloves over there. Lulu just moved them. They're disposables. And then we bought this weigh scale so we can get a live weight and then cut weight. And then I have a hose here. I just hook it up to the tent, run it from the backyard. And of course we have a hose on this side as well. We just hang that on a plant hanger type thing. We had that ready. I think our temp is pretty well up there. It's getting some bubbles, so we're gonna have to check that temp. Alright, so we're at 126 degrees Fahrenheit, 127. We aim for 145 because that's what works for us. So when you do scald them, what you want to do is dip them up and down by their feet. You're going to check the feathers at around the 30-second mark, and it could take up to 2 minutes. Usually it takes around 30 seconds to a minute for us at 145, so we'll see how that goes. And of course I have a book and a pen over here to write down the live weight and then the weight after we process. So I'm going to get that ready, and knives are sharpened. We're all set and ready to go. Alright, this is our setup to bring the chickens over. $11.42. Okay, so after we use the plucker to get the feathers off, then put them in a cool ice bath. Not much ice in there. But, and that cools them off so you can then eviscerate. We're going to go ahead and weigh the next one. Is this a male or a female?
I don't know. Female, I guess.
That's a female. Alright, we've got 2 chickens processed. Alright guys, so we're pretty much halfway through. We had 9 Cornish Cross, and we now have 4 of them processed. The 5th one we're waiting to process now. And so everything's going smooth so far. You just want to make sure you keep your temperature up. And today we're not having any problems with that. The last time we processed, we had a hard time keeping the temp up. And of course, keep everything disinfected as you go. I keep wiping down the area. And I've got all the weights written down. The live weight and then the processing weight. So, alright, we're going to keep on keeping on here. Okay. So I'm going to show how to eviscerate a chicken. Okay, what I do is cut the tail feather off along with the oil gland. Get that one twist. Pull that off. Then you're going to go in and get the crop or the crawl. Pull that open. You take your right finger, you're right-handed, stick it in. You can see the crawl right here. You're going to separate the crawl from the wall of the skin without breaking it. You want to have your hose handy.
That's where we need it, 148.
Go ahead and separate. You go under and lift up the windpipe and trachea and pull that out. Then you go on the other side and you find the hip bones, and just above the hip bones you're going to make a cut without cutting into the entrails or guts. And then you're going to open that up. Okay. Then you're going to make sure you have the insides removed. They do sell a tool that removes the lungs. However, I can feel them with my hands, so I do pull them out that way. Alright, we've got 9 roasters in here. Processing time is done. How do you feel about getting done?
I'm beat.
He's beat and I'm beat. Now the cleanup crew is coming in now. That's us. Gotta clean this mess up. I've disinfected the tables, pulled them all apart, bleached everything, and getting everything sanitized. So we are done here today. It's been a good day. Sad, of course. It's always sad, but we are grateful. So that's gonna be it today, guys. So I hope to see you soon. I'm gonna go ahead and get this stuff cleaned up. Talk to you soon. This is the drying rack that we use. It's made out of PVC. Lou made this, found the idea online and went with it. So I cover each of the pegs with, usually I buy plastic bags, but I didn't have any on hand, so I used plastic wrap. Alright, so I'm about ready to take these roasters and freeze those. The rest I'm going to cut in half. So we have 9 altogether, so let me go ahead and get this started. Alright, so I got them all cut up, and we ended up with 3 whole roasters and 12 halves. So in the freezer we're going to put them. So pretty happy with our turnout. Hey guys, it's Lee and
Lou.
from Happy Apples Homestead. So yesterday was a big day for us. We ended up processing 9 of our Cornish Cross chickens. Our chickens were 8 weeks and 3 days old. This is our second time processing chickens. And so we learned from the last time that we wanted to figure out how long it would take us to actually do the processing and prep and all the setup and the cleanup time. So our prep time was about 2 hours. And then setup time, we got up early in the morning because you don't want to wait too long. These chickens are going without eating in the morning. So you want to make sure that you start early. So our setup time was probably about an hour to an hour and a half. It didn't take too long. Once you prep everything, you have everything set and ready. And this way you can organize everything and you have an idea of your stations, how you want to set everything up, and you go over everything. And I'm a list maker. I like to put things down on paper. I think it just makes everything easier. And then of course you have your cleanup time as well. I think cleanup time this time was actually quicker.
Everything was quicker. Everything was quicker than last time because we was just learning and teaching at the same time.
Yeah, and I think because of the prep time that we were better organized this time.
The last time we did it, it took us like 6 hours with 4 helpers, but we was teaching them as we was doing it. So this time it was just me and you, and it only took us 3 hours. Right? And we did 1 extra than we did the last time. We did 8 last time. This time we did 9.
Yeah, we did 9 this time. And as far as their weights, like I said, they were 8 weeks and 3 days old. So we wanted to calculate our feed cost, but we ended up not doing it.
Only because other birds.
Yeah.
We got like 32 birds.
Yeah, and we have the lamb pullets and also some turkeys. So they all tend to eat the same food. So we didn't calculate the cost on that. However, each bird costs us $2.69 with a total of $24.21 minus the tax. And the only other cost that we incurred was ice. We ended up buying ice this time instead of making it ourselves. And that was an extra cost of, what did we spend?
$15.
About $15. And then of course our equipment, we invested in a plucker, which is a yard bird, and it will actually cut your time down like dramatically. If you hand pluck, it can take a long time.
About 15 minutes. And
yeah.
if you do it with the plucker, 30 seconds.
It's quick and easy. It makes the whole job just so much simpler. Our live weights that we had on the chickens, we weighed the chickens before we even processed them. The live weight was 94 pounds. And then the process weight,
77.76 pounds.
Yeah, so we ended up with 78 pounds of
77 and a half pounds.
Yep, so that's a lot for us. I mean, our daughters are growing up, and it's just Lou and I, so I mean...
We used to have a house of 8, now we're down to 3.
Yeah, yeah, I'm used to cooking for 8 people. All right, so the difference in live weight versus process weight was 16.24 pounds. So 16 pounds, 24 ounces. Hold on 1 second. Oh, we had a hummingbird. That was pretty cool. All right, so oh look, a squirrel. Anyway, so we sat down and made a list to try to help other people that are going to process their own chickens at home. So we came up with some ideas and wrote them down. For other people that are planning on processing their own chickens, the one main thing is you have to remember is you need to have the freezer space. So we ended up investing in a freezer this year. We definitely knew that we didn't want a chest freezer, so we ended up getting a 20 cubic foot. I think it was 20 cubic feet.
24, something like that.
Yeah, so those 9 birds didn't take up barely any space in the freezer at all. The other thing, you want to make sure that if you aren't processing your chickens near the source where they were kept, such as in a tractor or in a coop or wherever you plan to keep them, that you have some place to hold them before you process them that's nearby your processing area. So what we used was the back of our
tractor. It's got a dump trailer and a dog cage, and we put all 9 in there.
So we ended up buying like a dumper trailer, not just for the birds, we use it around the homestead, wherever. But Lou put, what is it, like a dog crate?
Dog crate.
We put the dog crate in the back and it fit.
Yes, right.
We just pulled the mower up to where we planned on processing the chickens, and they were all there and handy, so
You pay for everything but the kill cone.
Yeah. We ended up making the kill cone on our own. We got the idea offline. And pretty much we used one of those black...
flower pot.
Yeah, it's like a
3
flower.
gallon.
Yeah,
3 gallon.
3
Flower
gallon.
pot.
That you would get from a nursery. That can be found online. It wasn't hard to make, and I just used some zip ties and zip tied it together. I think in one space I used some tape or something, but it still held up.
We use staples.
Oh, did we use staples? Yeah. You want to have a sharp knife, or actually two
sharp knives.
Yeah.
Actually, many people will help you. You need a knife for every person that, so they all have something.
I thought it was helpful that you had your knife for butchering.
And you had your knife for flaying.
Yeah, so at the evisceration table I used a different knife. And then of course you want a scalding source. In our case, I mean, you can use different
methods.
We used a
propane and a propane burner.
Propane burner, yeah. We used a propane burner and a propane tank.
Because it was easy to regulate.
Yeah. How did you get that regulator?
Comes with it.
Oh. And you want a large pot. The last time that we processed chickens, we ended up using
a metal trash can that you buy in the store.
Yeah, and it didn't work too good.
Kind of leaked. We couldn't control the heat.
Yeah, it was crazy. We kept trying to add water, and of course, when you're adding water, it's cooling off the water. So it was just crazy trying to keep up with that. And I think that extended our processing time a lot longer than what we should have.
Yeah, this time we didn't have to watch it that much.
Yeah. Alright, so the other item was...
We used a rope and made a slip knot to hold the legs.
Right.
While you dip it into the scalding hot water.
So that helps the feathers come off easier. So the other thing that we would recommend is if you can invest in a plucker, they make things so much easier.
Instead of taking 15 minutes to pluck them by hand, you can do it in 30 seconds.
Yeah, it just makes the
best investment we ever did.
Yeah, it
if
makes
you had to order anything to help it out, I would recommend to buy a plucker. And our plucker is supposed to hold 2 chickens at one time.
Or one large turkey.
Or one large turkey. Yeah, you need some kind of thermometer that stays on there so we can watch the heat.
So we actually had a digital thermometer and it has a clip on it, so we clipped it on the side of the pot. And that helps you regulate the temperature. And then of course you want a water source. We had a water source at the plucker because as the plucker runs, you turn it on, you're supposed to have
water running with it.
Yeah, you want to have water running in the plucker to help pull the feathers out. And then we had one at the evisceration station at the tables, so you can keep everything clean. We used hoses in our case. We kept one at the evisceration table, and I just hung it up on the tent, and it worked rather well. I was able to clean off the table, and you know, if you're doing any disinfectant or anything like that, which you need to do, it helps with that. The other thing I would recommend is a large pan or a tray. You could then place the chicken into the pan or whatever you're using, and that helps with catching any of the waste, and that way you can dispose of it. The other thing is trash cans with liners.
Trash cans with liners for the week.
So we keep one at the evisceration station and one at the culling station.
At the culling station, I use a bucket.
And then of course you're going to want gloves. You want to keep everything clean and sanitized. You want some rags and some paper towels, like disposable paper towels. The other thing is a large cooler.
To hold all the meat when you're done with ice.
We ended up having the large cooler, but then we used a Rubbermaid container as well, because after you...
Cooler though.
Yeah, because after you scald the chicken and then you pluck it, you're going to want to put it into cool water to cool it down before you do the evisceration process.
Because it's hot when you're grabbing it.
Yeah. And then after the evisceration, you're going to want to put it on straight up ice water. So then you're going to want some Ziploc bags, which we use.
Freezer bag.
Yeah, you can buy the shrink wrap bags, but it just adds to the cost. And I'm not willing to pay it, so we end up using freezer bags and just make sure that
Sealed very well.
yeah, everything's sealed, and you want to make sure that they are dry before you put it in, so you avoid any freezer burn or ice crystals or anything like that. Lou actually made, what do you call it, a chicken drying station out of PVC.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll see
The
that
rack.
also.
It's a rack to hold this chicken.
Yeah, so you'll see that in the video as well.
Out of PVC.
Yep,
Half
and
inch.
half-inch PVC.
3/4, half-inch, something
Yeah,
like that.
so in our case, that one held 8 chickens.
Yeah, and this time we had 9, so we used the pigtail holder roller thing.
So, honey, you do what you have to do. So, after experiencing processing chickens for the second time, I thought it would be helpful that we share some of our own experience and how we felt about the entire process. So, one of the questions is, well, what was the hardest part for you?
The smell of the blood.
But see, I
It
don't
had
think...
a smell. This time it had a smell.
Yeah, it's odd because when we lived in Florida and we processed chickens, it didn't seem to affect you.
Nope.
But this time he was kind of nauseous, I think.
Yeah.
These are meat birds. These are Cornish Cross chickens. If we didn't buy them, like Lou told me,
Somebody else would have bought them.
somebody else would have bought them and processed them and put them in their freezer.
Yep.
So the next question. What one item wouldn't you want to process chickens without?
I wouldn't do it without the plucker.
I think I would have to agree with the plucker. It would take entirely too long to do it, so I'm grateful that we were able to invest in the plucker. So does it get any easier?
Yeah. Yeah, no.
In some aspects, I think it does. To me, I think it's the organization factor. I think we knew what to expect this time around.
Yeah.
You know, because the setup, what we did was we set up and organized the night before. So we did that Friday night, and then we knew we had to be up early Saturday morning.
Yep.
So that's when we raised the tent and we put all the stations together. I think what we would do different would be the setup.
Set up better.
Yeah, so I think we'd probably change that. But, you know, it's learn as you go, and you can change things up and whatever, you know, suits.
Whatever makes it easy on you.
And the next question is, would we do it again?
Yes.
I'm actually waiting for the next supply of chickens to come in so we can get a few more.
We would have probably ordered more, but like you said, it was just me and her all by herself now.
So the next question I had was, what would we change?
Just the setup.
Yeah, so like you said, the setup. The other thing I think I would change is, I'm actually interested in getting dual-purpose birds, because with the Cornish Cross, you can't breed them. They're not naturally bred. The fact that we can probably breed these chickens on our own, and now we have an incubator and we can sustain ourselves for...
Without buying chicken.
Yeah, and it wouldn't cost us anything hardly at all. So that right there is...
Money saver.
You know, we're just putting our feet in the water and seeing where we can go with this, but I think it's a big step into, like I said, becoming more sustainable. So...
And we've been doing this for 12 years now?
Yeah, we're pretty much on the 12-year mark, and we're still learning as we go. If you haven't already, we'd appreciate if you would subscribe to our channel. It helps us out a lot. And also, if you would like, comment, and share. So until next time, guys, we'll see you when we see you.
God bless you.
So rags and towels, pretty much for the same reasons. Rags and paper towels. And then, of course, it is hot out here.
I thought you stopped it.
No.
My head when we was on video.
Stop scratching your face.
I can't help it. It's sweat. It's sweat going all the way down.
All right. So until next time, guys.